The great thing with AI and what the activities wrapped around it are happening right now is companies understand that this is going to help their company. I go to these conferences and I speak, and I wrote a book on it for SAP specifically, and I tell them, your people are not going to go away. You are going to make better staff members. You're going to make better people. You're going to make better employees. You're going to make better companies by leveraging and utilizing the activities wrapped around generative AI and with the AI practices that are there.
Welcome, everyone, to the Tech Business Roundtable podcast show. This is a podcast show dedicated to shining a spotlight on tech innovators, entrepreneurs, founders, and the compelling narratives behind the movements they've established. I'm your host, Ryan Davies, and I'm hosting today's discussion on the role of AI and machine learning in business intelligence with Chris Carter. Chris, thank you so much for joining here today.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me on the roundtable.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be so much that our listeners are going to be able to take away from this. For our listeners, we already had a great getting to know you session, and the energy level is high on this one. I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this episode. A little bit about Chris, an extensive 25-year background in the IT and tech industry, and really he is a visionary and impassioned leader at the helm of Approyo. It's a global entity that specializes in providing SAP, AI, and cloud solutions for enterprises. And Chris is really the driving force behind innovation and growth. Notable achievements, there are many, recognized as a top business winner, an ACQ award recipient, Inc. 500 and 5,000 honoree, member of the Forbes Coaches Council. I think we can go on and on for a long time here, right?
You make me feel so. And don't forget, a best-selling author now, too.
I was getting to that one next. There you go. And a best-selling author in the field of AI. He published 4 books around SAP and the ecosystem. I think, should we just do a podcast on all of your accomplishments? We could do. I think that'll be our follow-up.
I'm very blessed.
So
Chris, what? And I probably stole a lot of that stuff from good people out there, but Chris, blessed.
I think we're the ones that are very blessed as well to have you here today to spend your time and share your knowledge with us. And, I'd love to kind of turn it over to you if there's anything else to color up that prestigious background for our audience and our listeners.
At the top of it, I'm very blessed to have an incredible wife who lets me do everything that I want to, hang out in my office most of the days, hiding Christmas gifts behind me. And then I've got 2 fantastic daughters that one is a paramedic that runs into burning buildings in the scenes to help save people's lives, something that I don't have the cojones to do. And then my other one is studying to be a nurse and dealing with emergency rooms and all that kind of stuff with her life. And I couldn't be more blessed. I'm just a technologist. I get to play with code and computers and help people learn about generative AI and what artificial intelligence does and why. And then go around and speak around the country. That's it. I don't get to do anything else anymore. My life of being on a keyboard is so over. So now I just, I learn new things. I help people. And I guess I am doing some really cool things. But at least in my mind, I think they're pretty cool.
I'm excited to dive in here. And, they say being an entrepreneur is the second hardest job in the world. I think any frontline worker is probably, to me, top. So, I mean,
I agree.
Huge kudos to your daughters on that and being on that side. And then for all of our listeners, you're taking on a lot of them taking on that challenge of, being a founder, a business leader, an entrepreneur as well. And, a little bit about that, maybe your journey through being, a business founder, entrepreneur side of things.
Yeah, I'm very blessed with the fact that, it started young. I literally started my first company when I was in high school, a little marketing company. Back then, all of a sudden somebody was showing me these plastic business cards and you could run them off. And I thought, this is great. I'm going to get all my friends to do this. I'm going to talk to teachers. I literally sold plastic business cards instead of a paper one to about 30 or 40 different people, companies. And I had them running off through the school that I was in high school, Sheboygan South High School, go Redmond. And that was my first company. And then I went off to college and I just didn't have time anymore. So I was like, okay, we're done with it. Well, then I got a tax bill, and I was like, holy cow, okay, I didn't know about taxes. Nobody taught you that in high school. Something that they really need to start teaching kids nowadays in school.
Mm-hmm.
But it started there, and then I went and I started learning about computers, and I brought a Commodore VIC-20 and an Apple IIe to college at Georgia Tech. And my life changed because I loved it. I loved coding. I got an internship at Coca-Cola, and I started playing with the punch cards in an old R2 environment. And then all of a sudden, there's SAP. And lo and behold, I started doing things with SAP, started having fun with SAP, started going through activities with SAP. They took me, then I started doing other things with technology. Then cloud came in, then virtualization. And then I was doing activities, and I just started growing my entrepreneurial spirit and my activities. And I just loved it. And so this is actually my, let's see, this is my 7th different startup. And I literally have 3 of them going right now, 4 of them going right now at the same time.
Incredible. That is,
3 of them are wrapped around IT.
I think this is amazing. I think we're going to be able to extract so much here. We want to really talk again. You've got an incredible expertise around AI, as you mentioned already, generative AI and beyond, as well as just with the SAP, tying it all together. And really, how are you seeing when we're talking about leveraging AI and machine learning for business intelligence and strategies? How are you able to successfully do that with Approyo and with and seeing that successfully done out in the world today?
Yeah, the great thing with AI and what the activities wrapped around it are happening right now is companies understand that this is going to help their company. I go to these conferences and I speak, and I wrote a book on it for SAP specifically, and I tell them, your people are not going to go away. You are going to make better staff members. You're going to make better people. You're going to make better employees. You're going to make better companies by leveraging and utilizing the activities wrapped around generative AI and with the AI practices that are there. Start to leverage and use it, and you will see the growth that will happen within your organization, within your staff. And it's crazy. All of a sudden the light bulbs come on and they're like, oh, I thought this was going to take everything away. I thought this was going to change the world. I thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to come through and say he'll be back. No, but what you're going to get is you're going to get these employees that are going to be like, "Ooh, I will be back. This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
And they start to grow and grow. And you see these employees when I'm out and meeting with clients and I'm at customer sites, and you see individuals all of a sudden who maybe are poo-pooing it a little bit, and all of a sudden it's, holy cow, this is pretty cool. I can do this every day. Wow, I can do more of this, and I can do more of that, and I can bring this in. And they start to see the data capabilities. That's when the light bulbs turn on and the smiles come in and their eyes start to glow. And I get excited talking about it because I get to see these individuals who maybe were just, oh, they're going to get rid of me. What am I going to do next? I'm at this age now where I'm in my 50s. I don't want to relearn things, but you don't have to relearn a lot. And so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right? And of course, there's that Skynet fear that everybody keeps that sort of narrative there, right? Of like, oh, they're coming. It's like you said, it's not happening. It hasn't happened. I don't think we're going to see that. Be pretty stunned, but
not unless Elon builds it, that's for sure.
I think instead of cyborgs, like you said, what we're seeing here is more of being able to use AI and machine learning to enhance data analysis capabilities, right? And
Yes.
do you have some examples of maybe where you've seen a significant impact, or even anecdotal impacts of like really where these valuable insights are being extracted and how they're being used?
Oh, absolutely. We're very fortunate. We've got several customers that are using our tools, specifically that we built wrapped around AI and the generative AI activities and machine learning, especially around the customer service side of it for cloud infrastructure, SAP activities. We built a tool called Overwatch. Now, if that doesn't get a little bit more Skynet-ish, then I don't know what is, but we called it Overwatch. And that tool will manage, run, and support from an AMS structure your technology landscape. So it will monitor the things that are going on inside of it, but also what's trying to attack it from a security, a vulnerabilities, and being able to monitor proactively. And this is where the AI fund comes in, proactively the capabilities of what's going on with your disks, what's going on with your network, what's going on with your databases. Are they getting too compressed? Being able to tell you what is happening to your system in not only real time, but saying in 7 days, this disk file will be maxed out. You need to do something about it now. Holy cow, okay, within the next 7 days, I've got to archive, I've got to take data off there. My backups are getting too full. Maybe a backup didn't run, or maybe a backup did run, but it didn't delete the old backup. Now all of a sudden my disks are. Now all of a sudden you got this tool that is telling you these things. So as a customer support person for my network and my team, I'm now able to say, oh shoot, hey, I can make these changes because my tool told me if I don't do this in the next couple of days, my system's going to crash, and I want to be a hero. So I'm now the hero. Now you're making heroes out of your organizational team members.
I was going to say, I think I can already tell that is a big part of who you are and your culture and your leadership style is, again, putting people in the spotlight, making them shine, and all of that kind of a thing. And as you mentioned, you're not here to replace people. You don't want to, whether it's at your organization, others, you want to empower, you want to bring more to them and be able to enhance what they're doing instead of replace what they're doing. You talked about a little bit about it already, but the idea of quicker learning curves, user-friendly interfaces, accessibility being so important on this. Obviously, for you, I'm sure there's a focus on these advanced technologies, making them more user-friendly than they have been for like the non-technological people that are, as you said, maybe in different stages of their career. Can you speak to that a little bit and some of the, some of the tools and how this is evolving in this landscape and ecosystem?
Oh my gosh, the evolution of where we're at right now in anything AI, machine learning, generative AI, the activities of we are so at the very, very top of what is going to, there is an iceberg of information and changes. Just alone, if you see where we came from in the last, now, mind you, AI has been around for many years and people have been trying to replicate it and trying to get it to the point where it can get massive adoption. And those long time ago. But being able to use it on a day in and day out logistical basis for any company or any individual. Look at just where ChatGPT has taken it. I now have 2 flavors of ChatGPT on my phone. I have 4 different variations of AI-based tools on my phone. You got things such as Grammarly and others that are on there. Those are all AI-based tools.
Yeah.
You did not have those up until 24 months ago. Nobody could figure that out for how they could put that, how they could clean it. All those changes are just the first reiteration of these activities.
Right.
So now you start going, let's see what happens in another 24 months. It's going to be built into your Gmail pretty soon. Google has already talked about they're going to build their AI system, even though they're getting slapped today about that demo that they did. That got a slapping on the hand because of what they put out there in that edited video, let's call it.
Yeah.
But that being said, they're going to build that into their Google Mail. They have more users in Gmail than all of Microsoft has right now because individuals have these Gmail accounts and then you got businesses using Gmail. But
oh, yeah.
Think of the benefits now. It's built into it so you can reference it and ask it a question based upon your mail. How huge is that?
Yeah.
I don't have to search the toolbar anymore on Microsoft Outlook for a document that I'm looking for. I can just say, hey, find me this document inside my Gmail account. Done.
Yeah. And
that's pretty cool.
Through my Gmail, through my Drive, through my whatever, right? And pull everything together. Like you said, workspace, everything kind of coming together. And it's just, the processes and the efficiencies are incredible. You talked a little bit about it as well. there in automation and, with business intelligent processes using
Mhm.
AI and machine learning, maybe
Yes.
touching on some of the key benefits and efficiencies that really are gained in the context of business intelligence and what we're seeing and how they're being, again, practically used, or how you're seeing best practical usage.
Yeah, if you look at those activities from a practicality use, organizations are starting small. Start small and you take an HR activity or take something in the finance, take something very small and begin to then sprout. You do not want to boil the ocean. That's the first thing. Don't boil the ocean. Start
Yep.
small, be very practical, be very mindful of it. Second of all, use only your data. Only the activity that needs to happen for your data and that data only in those activities. Do not go outside of your organization. The only people that should be utilizing outside data is Elon with his project through Project X, where you're getting all the tweets and all that stuff. If you do that, you are going to have data overload and you're also going to have activities that's going to bring in dirty data. Just like in security, you don't want dirty data. You want
Yep.
clean, fresh data that's going to be giving you the right interaction for you to make those decisions. And then your generative AI tools can leverage clean data to make a clean decision for you to have once you ask it the question, give it the prompts in those activities. But those are the two things that I would say, and be very, very, very conscious of an HR or a finance. Perfect example, and we do this from a customer service standpoint internally. We leverage AI as a chatbot for people who want to take time off. You want to take your time off instead of having to call in HR or go through a portal, just
Yep.
literally goes into the chatbot. That chatbot is automated into our HR systems and gives them the flexibility to be able to log their times off, and also tells them you have X number of days or hours left, depending upon who you are.
It's I just love that. Again, it talks really about whether you're a technical or non-technical stakeholder, gaining accessibility to, and again, really increasing that stickiness with your internal employees, right? Because
Yes.
if you make their life easy, they're going to have more reason to stay and to do things and increase their productivity, right? Like if I got to go in and I got to book time off and it's this whole 3 email 2 approval process, did I get it? Do I have to follow up?
Yep.
That's time being used, right? That's some
But
soft
it's so
cost that turns
easy.
into hard cost, right? So
Exactly. You've
yeah.
got HR activities, you've got 401k activities, you've got our sick days, you've got activities that you can do in regards to time and expense accounts, your timesheets, your expense reports. Make these things an automated AI based solution that helps you get through this process, clean it, make it more conducive for you and for your employees.
I mean, this is just, again, I think there's so much here that Chris is sharing
Yeah.
for our listeners just to go, wow, it's a great idea. Never thought of that. Never saw it that way. Um, I kind of want to drill down this path a little bit more because I think
Please.
again, you mentioned it in sort of going through that. Increase in AI, increase in machine learning. You talked about, using clean data, your data. This is handling sensitive data, right? So
Yes.
there's always the, how do you address concerns related to data security and privacy with this
Mhm.
space? And really, what measures are key to be in place to ensure that responsible, ethical use of AI when it comes to
Yeah.
business intelligence or anything to do in this space? You bet.
Yeah, the first thing that you have to do is focus on the data inside your company and your company only, because all of your employees and all of your the in let me back that up. All of your staff members, all of your company activities need to be wrapped around your company's clean and concise data. You start going outside of your company's data, then you start getting HIPAA violations and you get FedReds and you get all these different variations, because now you're bringing outside and you don't know if that data is clean. You may not even know if your internal data is clean, to be very honest with you. A lot of companies have that problem. But if you lock down the doors and put up four walls around your company's data and only use that, even if you only use a subset of that data, lock it down. Do not allow your company to take dirty data from outside, because you don't know if it's clean or dirty.
Right. Yeah.
That's the number one most important thing.
Yeah.
Then make sure you have individuals who, they may not know everything about your company, and they may not know everything about AI and how to utilize generative AI and these activities for it, but get individuals who at least have got training wrapped around it, who can understand the right question to get an answer for. Because prompting the right question gets you better answers. If it's a very generalized question into the environment, and that happens too, it can start the process, but you might slow down a couple of steps. Get individuals, and then also bring in individuals from your company and the business units to be able to leverage their knowledge of the business to be able to answer questions for you as well.
I think it's just that's a great checklist to go through there, right? To make sure you're following all the right things. And I know there's such a temptation but there's a bigger data lake out there I could draw from if I just pull in all of this other information. But like you said, don't do that. You
That's
don't even know, like, what are
hard
their
stop.
standards? What's their languages? What's their everything, right? Like the variation,
Mhm.
just the problems it can create are monumental. And I think that leads into not just that, but one of the biggest, in my opinion, especially in business intelligence, in anything to do with business growth and in this space, is using AI and machine learning for like predictive analytics and for forecasting, right? To
Yes.
really do that with a scientific methodology behind it, right? Going away from the I got a hunch, or
Yes.
here's the numbers we should be hitting because I want to hit this growth next year. And you say, show your work. And they go, I don't have to, because that's the number I want to hit, right? Where this gives you a legitimate view of, predictive analysis and forecasting. Maybe you can shed some light on that for us as well. Maybe instances where these predictive models have led to more accurate predictions, or just sort of the thought process about how to take advantage of that as well.
Well, that's what I made reference to our Overwatch tool. We based that on a predictive analytics tool set for our customer support. And we provide this tool to every single one of our managed services customers. So every one of them gets their own Overwatch tool. So Overwatch is there, all their landscape of the infrastructure, that all comes into one repository for each of them. Nobody shares that data in any way, shape, or form. But what it does do is it also gives us the flexibility to be able to talk about ticketing and fixes that have happened that then go into another central repository for all of the customer service agents to be able to gather information. Well, if you see this happening in table TE06, this could possibly be an opportunity for you to fix it in this regard. Be proactive. If you're seeing a runoff or a data log that's going longer and longer, predictively, like I made reference earlier, this table will fill up in 4 days, or this disk will die in a number of days. It gives you that capability to be predictive weeks in advance, especially in an SAP environment. We can be more predictive now with our tool and with that activity, because we don't want those to shut down. We don't want the data to shut down. We don't want the drives to shut down. Even from a cloud perspective, we tell the cloud, you will need to up the size of the cloud or the amount of space for that cloud that we have in Azure, AWS, GCP within X number of days, because of the rapid growth that we're seeing, and we're taking from a predictive analytics. If we are seeing an X% on a daily basis, we know that it's going to do X, and gives you that capability. Takes the dumminess out of it.
Yeah,
and
right.
I need that.
Yeah. We all do, right? How about for, again, we've got a lot of tech leaders here that are part of our audience that are likely considering, similar integrations, considering, how do I get started on this path? Or alternatively, I've got this system. I don't know if it's hit maturity. I don't know if I'm getting everything out of it, or I'm just struggling to use it, right? Any lessons learned, anything you can share with them to sort of consider that, here's why you need to change. Here's what you need to be doing, and really stressing that importance behind it.
Yeah, from a technology leadership perspective, think about this first and foremost. Do your research. Do your research on the tools that are out there. And there are a number of tools, enterprise grade tools that you can utilize for organizations running enterprise grade applications. Then once you decide on the tool, make sure you have the right people to help you with the right tool. Don't go for the cheapest, but also contemplate who they are, what they do, and what they've done. I'm very fortunate. I've been on a lot of these projects. I've created books and as the best-selling author, blah, blah, blah. But it really comes down to when I talk to these individuals, I bring them knowledge from doing it. And I'm not going to bullshit them, pardon my language to anybody that's offended. You can't bullshit this stuff. You've got to be accurate. You've got to give them the knowledge that they desire, even if it's not your company that they're going to go to and do the work. Give them the ability to make the right decision with the right tools for their company's future. Don't just say, oh, of course our company does every one of these tools and it's the same. No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same tools. It's not the same setup. It's not the same data. It's not the same locking them down in a box. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say there's a lot. That's a bad word. I apologize. It's a terrible statement. There are organizations that will try to sell you anything and everything and say that it's generative AI or it's machine learning.
Yeah.
Do your research first to make sure it's the right solution for your organization.
I think that's key too, right? When you get a new service, a new toy, a new technology that people are unaware of but have hype behind it, right? It's easier to get sold on something. It's easier to be told something and go, well, you're the expert, I guess, right? And if someone speaks confidently enough about it, then that's the truth to you, right? Where, like you said, I think there's more research to be done, and you've got to make sure. And I think people, again, listeners here, you're doing your job with that, right? You're understanding what questions to ask and how to recognize it and things like that. I want to have one more thing before we kind of transition out here, Chris, and really, looking at the future ahead. How do you see the intersection of like AI and business intelligence and how tech businesses can kind of best prepare for this rapidly evolving landscape?
Oh, how can they best? Take your time. Take your time. And like I made reference in the last question, do your research.
Yeah.
Take your time. Find individuals that are willing to tell you the truth and to understand in the activities wrapped around it. Don't jump at the first piece. Be very cognizant. There's a lot of options and opportunities out there. There's also a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out there. Be careful, be cognizant, take your time. But once you're ready to make those decisions and you find the right people and you find the right application with the right organizations, go all in. Jump in with both feet. Make sure that you are 100% committed because you've got team members that are committed and they're ready to go. And then you're going to be able to go forward pretty nicely and pretty quickly.
I love it. And, for our listeners here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, Chris, but I'd love to, I just want you to take a minute and tell us, how people can get in contact with you and learn more about Approyo. If you've got a podcast, promote it. If you don't, it's criminal because you're a dream for this, I think, and being able to share your information, but a little bit about your books and stuff as well. Cause I know our listeners are going, I didn't get enough of them in 25 minutes here and I'm going to need more. So I'd love to have you extend that out to our listener base.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So my company's Approyo. Very fortunate. I'm the founder, chairman, CEO. We've got a great team wrapped around everything that we're doing. We focus in the SAP, the AI, the data intelligence, the cloud space with organizations around the globe. Very blessed to have a really great set of individuals that are out there globally. We've got team members in the UK, Spain, India, United States, all over. So it's great. And then there we go. Those are my books back there.
There we go.
Got 4 books on SAP called Mastering SAP. It's a 4-book series. I'm very blessed. As of last week, I became a best-selling author. Didn't know that until somebody told me, hey, your book is on the bestseller list here on Amazon. I'm like, now I can hold that over my wife's head. Do I have to take the garbage out tonight? Yes, you do. So I'm very blessed with that. But my goal with those books are actually to help teach folks, we're looking for 1 million new consultants within the SAP ecosystem. Wow. Because we're in the #1 upgrade cycle. We're all moving to cloud. We're all moving to AI-based tools within the SAP ecosystem. And so I wrote the books, and actually I launched the AI-based book for Mastering SAP 2 weeks before they announced it at Sapphire. So I was on the right track. And I just love, so I go talk to the universities and the American SAP user groups, and I bring books, sign them off for people through all the different conferences that I speak at, folks. So it's, it's fantastic to be able to really do that.
Incredible. And Chris, after all of that, you still managed to find, time for me and for our audience today. And I am truly appreciative of that. For our listeners, Approyo, APPROYO.com. Give it a check out. Again, check out the books. Chris Carter will have all of that in show notes here for you and whatnot, because I know everybody's going to be looking for more. And I can't thank you enough. Genuine, heartfelt thank you for spending your time with us, sharing some information with us today. And I'm hoping we're going to have you back again. I really hope that we can have multiple conversations, because as we talked before we came on, I think we had a dozen topics we could have done today. So I'd love to. That leaves us at least 11 more to cover right off the top of our head. So thanks,
I tell you, there's so many more that we could have some fun with. And next time I get a whiskey, okay?
There we go. I think so. That sounds good. You can come in your brewer's gear. I have my friend here sitting right beside me on the desk. So we'll be frenemies through this, Chris. We'll be frenemies. I love it. So thank you so much.
My favorite manager. There you go.
There we go. You'll still be cheering for him under the radar, right? You hate it. It's dirty, but I get it. So
for him, not for the team.
There you go. Exactly. So with that, thank you again to Chris Carter for this absolutely amazing podcast, The Role of AI and Machine Learning in Business Intelligence. I also want to thank our listeners. As always, we can't do what we do without you. So until we meet again with another amazing TBR episode, I'm your host, Ryan Davies. Thanks and take care, everybody.